weren't built to look beautiful, they were built to break rules. While America bragged about cubic inches, Japan quietly engineered machines that could outrun them using half the displacement. From turbocharged legends to forbidden prototypes that embarrassed Ferraris on their own turf, these are the 12 fastest Japanese muscle cars ever made. Number 12, 1993 Mazda RX-7 FD. In the early 1990s, Japan was in a horsepower war and Mazda decided to fight differently. While other brands obsessed over bigger engines and heavier power, Mazda's engineers chose precision over brute strength. Their weapon, the RX-7 FD, a car so light, so balanced, it could outrun cars with nearly twice the power. Under the hood was the twin-turbo 13 BREW rotary engine, compact, screaming, and unlike anything else on the road. On paper, it made 276 horsepower, but like many JDM icons of the 90s, those numbers were part of the gentleman's agreement, a handshake deal between manufacturers to never exceed 280 horsepower. In reality, most RX-7s rolled off the line pushing 300 horsepower or more, and tuners quickly discovered how easy it was to double that. The car's real genius was its design philosophy. Mazda chased perfection and balance, achieving an exact 50-50 weight distribution and keeping the car under 2,800 pounds. It wasn't about raw power, it was about control. Every curve, every inch of aluminum, every gram of weight served a purpose, and when it hit the track, the results were undeniable. The RX-7 FD dominated the All-Japan Grand Touring Car Championship, became a cult hero in Initial D, and laid the groundwork for Japan's tuner era, inspiring cars like the RX-8 and even the spirit of modern Mazda speed builds. In the hands of street racers, it became an icon. In the hands of professionals, it became a weapon. Visually, it was as sleek as it was sinister. Smooth curves, pop-up headlights, and that ducktail spoiler made it look like liquid speed. But beneath that beauty was danger, was a car that punished mistakes and rewarded mastery. The RX-7 wasn't just fast, it was alive. A lightweight rebel that redefined what Japanese performance could be and set the stage for a generation of rotary legends. Number 11, 2007 Lexus ISF. By the mid-2000s, Japan had already conquered the tuner world, but one brand, Lexus, wanted to prove it could play in the same league as BMW's M Division and Mercedes' AMG monsters. The result wasn't just luxury with attitude, it was a declaration of war. The Lexus ISF was Japan's first true high-performance luxury sedan, a 5.0-liter V8 masterpiece producing 416 horsepower and screaming to 7,000 RPM. Under the hood, it wasn't borrowed tech, it was hand-built precision. The engine, the 2URGSE, was co-developed with Yamaha, the same company that tuned the legendary LFA's sound, giving the ISF a howl so sharp it sounded angry even at idle. 0 to 60 came in 4.2 seconds. Top speed, electronically limited to 170 miles per hour. And yet, this wasn't a stripped down race car. It had heated seats, a Mark Levinson sound system, and a ride so smooth it could fool you into thinking it wasn't packing supercar performance underneath. What made the ISF special wasn't just its numbers, it was who built it. Chief engineer Yukihiko Yaguchi came straight from the Supra program. His mission was to make a Lexus that could embarrass Europe's best, without losing an ounce of refinement. He succeeded. Reviewers described it as a gentleman with a killer instinct, calm, confident, and devastatingly fast when provoked. On the outside, it looked subtle, clean lines, small flares, and that signature stacked quad exhaust. But on the track, it was chaos in a tailored suit. For the first time, Lexus didn't whisper luxury, it growled dominance. The ISF marked the beginning of a new chapter, one that would lead to the RCF, GSF, and even influence the V10 LFA. It proved Japan could do luxury and lunacy all in the same breath. Number 10, 1990 Nissan Skyline GT-R R32. When the R32 Skyline GT-R hit the streets in 1989, it didn't just revive a name, it revived fear. Nissan built it for one purpose, domination, and that's exactly what it did. Under its hood sat the now legendary RB26, a 2.6-liter twin-turbo straight six that officially made 276 horsepower. Unofficially, everyone knew it was lying, with real output closer to With 320 horsepower and the ability to take modifications beyond 600 horsepower, it was a monster disguised as a coupe. But brute force wasn't its secret weapon, technology was. The R32 debuted a Tessa ETS, an advanced all-wheel drive system that constantly shifted power between front and rear for maximum grip. It also used Super High-Kiss, a four-wheel steering system that made the car corner like it was defying physics. The result? A car so fast it dominated Japan's Group A touring races, winning 29 consecutive victories and earning the nickname Godzilla, a beast too powerful for the competition. Australian media coined the name after watching it obliterate local V8s on the track. It stuck, and it still sends chills down spines today. Visually, the R32 wasn't flashy. No wings, no chrome, no drama. Just clean lines, a muscular stance, and that twin-round taillight signature that became an icon for every GTR that followed. More than 3 decades later, it's still considered one of the greatest performance machines Japan ever made. A blend of brute force and surgical precision that changed motorsport forever. Number 9, 1997 Toyota Supra A80. Before it became a movie star, it was already a monster. The 4th-generation Toyota Supra, known as the A80, didn't just earn its reputation, it engineered it, one boost at a time. At its heart was the 2JZ, a 3.0-liter twin-turbo inline-6 so overbuilt it became a legend in itself. Stock, it made 276 horsepower, but tuners quickly learned that with the right upgrades, it could handle over 1,000 horsepower without breaking a sweat. It was an engine that defied limits, and the foundation for decades of tuning culture worldwide. The Supra's design wasn't just about power, it was about balance. A 6-speed Getrag transmission, a limited slip differential, and a perfect blend of weight and rigidity made it equally at home on the street or the circuit. It wasn't the lightest car, but it was one of the best handling Grand Tourers of its time. Then Hollywood happened. The Fast and the Furious turned the Supra into a global phenomenon. Overnight, it transformed from a niche performance car into a symbol of JDM culture itself, the poster child of turbocharged rebellion. Visually, it was bold but refined. Long hood, short rear deck, and that unmistakable rear wing that became the automotive world's halo. Every curve was functional, every vent had a purpose. And when that twin turbo spooled, it delivered a sound that enthusiasts still chase today. The A80 Supra wasn't just a fast car, it was a cultural shift, a machine that proved Japanese engineering could rival and often surpass Europe's best. For millions, it wasn't just a car, it was the dream. Number 8, 2002 Nissan Skyline GT-R R34. If the R32 was the monster, the R34 was the masterpiece. By the early 2000s, Nissan had spent over a decade refining its ultimate weapon, and the result was perfection on wheels. The R34 GT-R took everything that made its predecessors legendary and dialed it up to 11. It kept the same RB26 twin-turbo straight 6, officially limited to 276 horsepower, but in truth it was closer to 330 and capable of much more. Matched with a 6-speed Getrag transmission, an updated Atessa ETS Pro all-wheel drive system, and an active rear differential, the R34 wasn't just powerful, it was intelligent. This car didn't just respond to drivers, it read them. The dash featured a futuristic multifunction display that tracked turbo pressure, oil temperature, and G-forces, technology borrowed straight from Nissan's racing division. It was the first true digital age muscle car from Japan, blending raw mechanical power with early performance computing. And then came its cultural explosion. The R34 became a global obsession, immortalized by video games like Gran Turismo and Need for Speed, and cemented forever by Paul Walker's Skyline and Fast and Furious. Only a few thousand were ever made, and most never reached American soil due to import bans. That scarcity only made it more mythical. Today, a clean R34 GTR can sell for over $500,000. Proof that legends don't fade, they appreciate. Number 7, 1999 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 6. By the late 1990s, Mitsubishi wasn't just building cars, it was building legends. And the Lancer Evolution 6, known simply as the Evo VI, was the ultimate proof that small displacement could destroy giants. Born on the rally stage, the Evo VI was a 2.0-liter turbocharged missile pushing the limits of all-wheel drive engineering. Its 4G63T engine produced a modest 276 horsepower on paper, but everyone knew the truth. It was underrated, quick to 60 in under 4.4 seconds, and capable of humiliating sports cars twice its price. Mitsubishi didn't just tune an engine, they engineered an ecosystem. Active yaw control distributed torque between the rear wheels for razor-sharp cornering, while a lightweight aluminum hood and larger intercooler improved both balance and cooling. It wasn't about luxury or comfort, it was built to win, and it did. Under the command of rally legend Tommi Mäkinen, the Evo VI helped Mitsubishi claim its 4th consecutive World Rally Championship title. The special Tommi Mäkinen edition became an instant collector's item, sharper, faster, and finished with racing stripes straight from the WRC stage. Visually, it looked like a street fighter in a business suit. Functional vents, aggressive bumpers, and that massive rear wing that became its signature. It wasn't elegant, but it didn't need to be. The Evo VI was pure, purpose-built speed, a symbol of Japan's obsession with balance, grip, and precision over brute horsepower. Number 6. 1998 Toyota Chaser Tourer 5. While the Skyline and Supra stole headlines, Toyota quietly built something just as fast, and maybe even more dangerous. The Chaser Tourer 5 was the kind of car that didn't need fame. It just needed a long straight and a brave driver. Under the hood was the same 1JZ engine found in the Soarer and Mark II, a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline 6 pushing out 276 horsepower and 268 pound-feet of torque. But like every JDM powerhouse of the 90s, those numbers were conservative. In reality, it could easily touch 300 horsepower stock, and tuners quickly found it could take 500, 600, even 700 horsepower without breaking a sweat. Paired with a 5-speed manual and rear-wheel drive, the Chaser was the perfect blend of family sedan and street predator. It could hit 60 miles per hour in just 5.3 seconds, quick enough to embarrass cars twice its price. But the Chaser's real legacy was born in the underground. It became a drift king's weapon of choice, balancing weight, balance, and power in near-perfect harmony. Its long wheelbase made it stable, its 1JZ made it tunable, and its understated styling made it invisible to anyone who didn't know what it was capable of. Visually, it looked like a businessman's commuter. 4 doors, clean lines, no drama. But on the streets of Japan, that anonymity was part of its power. It was the car you underestimated, right before it left you behind in a cloud of tire smoke. The Toyota Chaser Tourer 5 wasn't just fast, it was forbidden fruit. A sleeper sedan that became a cult classic and a reminder that Japan didn't just build sports cars, it built monsters in disguise. Number 5. 1991 Lexus SC400. While the 90s were defined by turbocharged 6s and screaming rotaries, one Japanese automaker took a quieter, more refined route to performance. Lexus, and their creation, the SC400, was a muscle car wearing a tuxedo. At its core was the 1UZFE, a 4.0-liter 32-valve V8 engine so smooth and over-engineered it was practically indestructible. Originally developed for the Lexus LS400 flagship, the 1UZ wasn't built for racing, but tuners saw potential. All aluminum, bulletproof internals, and silky delivery made it one of the strongest V8s Japan ever produced. It made 250 horsepower stock, but it wasn't about straight-line violence. It was about effortless power. The SC400 could hit 60 miles per hour in just under 6 seconds, with a top speed limited to 155 miles per hour. And because it was rear-wheel drive, comfortable, and perfectly balanced, it became a cult favorite among street racers and luxury tuners alike. What made the SC400 legendary wasn't just what it was, but what it became. It inspired a tuning movement that swapped its 1UZ engine into Supras, Soarers, and even drift cars. And decades later, that same engine architecture evolved into the power plant behind Lexus's own supercar, the LFA. Visually, it was timeless. A long, low, grand tourer with curves that whispered elegance but hinted at danger. It wasn't loud, it wasn't brash, but it was fast. The SC400 was proof that Japan could do muscle without losing class. A silent assassin that never needed a turbo to prove its worth. Number 4. 1991 Honda NSX. When Honda set out to build a supercar, they didn't want to beat Ferrari. They wanted to embarrass it, and with the NSX, they did exactly that. In 1991, Honda introduced something the world had never seen before, a supercar that didn't punish its driver. The NSX was engineered with precision that bordered on obsession. Its chassis was developed with input from none other than Ayrton Senna, the Formula One legend himself. Every corner, every vibration, every steering input was refined through his feedback. Under its aluminum body, the first of its kind for a production car, sat the C30A, a 3.0-liter naturally aspirated V6 with VTEC technology. It produced 270 horsepower, revved to 8,000 RPM, and sang like a symphony at full throttle. But more than power, the NSX was about control. Razor-sharp steering, a perfectly balanced mid-engine layout, and a chassis so communicative it felt alive in your hands. 0 to 60 came in just 5.2 seconds, but the real magic was in how it moved. It didn't rely on brute strength or turbos, it relied on engineering purity. Ferrari was forced to re-engineer the 348 after journalists openly said the NSX was better built. Visually, it looked futuristic even by today's standards. Low, sculpted, and elegant in motion. Inside, it was quiet, usable, and shockingly civilized. It wasn't a car you admired from afar. It was one you could actually drive every day. Number 3. 1998 Nissan Silvia S15 Spec R. Some cars were born for racetracks. The Nissan Silvia S15 was born for corners. Released in 1998, it represented the final evolution of Nissan's Silvia line, and it went out with a bang. Under its sleek coupé body sat the SR20, a 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder producing 250 horsepower in stock form. Lightweight, perfectly balanced, and rear-wheel drive, the S15 wasn't about straight-line speed. It was about control, precision, and pure mechanical connection. With its close ratio 6-speed manual and limited slip differential, the S15 could sprint from 0 to 60 in just 5.5 seconds. But numbers didn't tell its story. On tight roads, mountain passes, or drift circuits, the car behaved like an extension of its driver's instincts. It didn't just take corners, it devoured them. The S15 became the darling of the drift world and inspiring a generation of enthusiasts to slide rather than sprint. Its chassis balance was so perfect that tuners could transform it into anything, from a daily commuter to a 700 horsepower drift missile. Visually, it was restrained yet menacing. Compact headlights, sculpted fenders, and a body that looked ready to strike. By the early 2000s, emissions laws and market shifts killed it off. But its legend never faded. Today, the S15 is a symbol of driving purity. Japan's last great analog sports coupe before electronics took over. Number 2. 2010 Lexus LFA. Most supercars are built to impress. The Lexus LFA was built to haunt you. After nearly a decade in development, Lexus unveiled a car that shattered every expectation of what Japanese performance could be. It wasn't about numbers, it was about perfection. At its core was the one LRGUE, a 4.8-liter naturally aspirated V10 that revved to an astonishing 9,000 RPM. Co-developed with Yamaha, the masters of sound, it produced 553 horsepower and one of the most breathtaking exhaust notes ever recorded. The LFA didn't sound mechanical, it sounded alive, like an orchestra of rage and precision. 0 to 60 came in 3.6 seconds, top speed, 202 miles per hour. But the real achievement was how it got there. Its body was crafted almost entirely from carbon fiber reinforced polymer, made in-house by Lexus engineers using a specialized loom originally designed for weaving titanium. That obsessive attention to detail gave the LFA near-perfect balance, razor-sharp steering, and feedback that felt supernatural. Inside, it was art, minimal yet purposeful. The digital tachometer didn't exist for show. It was necessary because the analog gauge couldn't keep up with how fast the engine revved. Every sound, every vibration, every line of code was tuned for emotion. Only 500 units were ever built, each hand-assembled and individually tested. It sold slowly at first, but years later, collectors realized what it truly was. The pinnacle of Japanese craftsmanship. The LFA wasn't just a car, it was a statement. Proof that Japan could build something so emotional, so pure, that even Ferrari and Lamborghini had to take notice. Number 1. 2022 Nissan GT-R Nismo. More than a decade after the R35 first stunned the world, Nissan unleashed something even fiercer, the GT-R Nismo. It wasn't a redesign, it was a refinement, the final perfected form of Japan's most feared performance machine. At its heart was the hand-built VR38, a 3.8-liter twin-turbo V6 tuned by Nissan's legendary Takumi master craftsman. This time, it produced 600 horsepower and 481 pound-feet of torque, numbers that catapulted it into supercar territory. 0 to 60 in just 2.5 seconds, and a top speed north of 200 miles per hour still achieved without hybrid systems or electric assists. But what truly set the Nismo apart wasn't its power, it was its precision. A A reworked suspension, lightweight carbon fiber panels, and carbon ceramic brakes turned the GT-R into a surgical weapon. Every corner, every shift, every turbo spool was tuned for total dominance. The aerodynamics were reimagined using real GT3 racing data. Even the vents on its fenders had a purpose. It sliced through air with the efficiency of a fighter jet, generating downforce without drama. And when it hit the Nürburgring, it proved its point, clocking lap times that rivaled cars twice its price. Inside, it was stripped for purpose. Alcantara, carbon fiber, and red Nismo accents everywhere. This wasn't a luxury cruiser, it was a precision-built machine designed to scare supercars. And it did. The GT-R Nismo represents the end of an era, the final chapter of Japan's golden age of combustion performance.